Meet Omar Kharshid, not just a guitarist, but a maestro whose fingers danced across the strings, weaving magic into the very fabric of Egyptian music. From composing timeless melodies for legends like Kulthum and Abdel Halim Hafez, to producing captivating films where his talent shone both on and off screen, Omar Kharshid was a true luminary of his time. But behind the brilliance of his musical prowess lies a tale shrouded in mystery, a story whispered in hushed tones of his encounter with the Jinn. Published by the renowned journalist Hassan El-Hefnawi in Al-Kawakeb magazine, this enigmatic tale emerged after Omar Kharshid's untimely demise, casting a veil of intrigue over his tragic fate. Join us as we unravel the legend of Omar Kharshid and his mystical rendezvous with the otherworldly, a journey that transcends the boundaries of the ordinary and delves into the realms of the supernatural. But before we embark on this captivating odyssey, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell to stay tuned for more captivating stories. Omar Kharshid was the younger brother of the renowned actress Sherihan from their mother's side. He was born on April 9th, 1945, into a prestigious artistic family. His father, Ahmed Kharshid, was a professor of cinematography who had many connections with cinema stars and influential figures in the artistic community, as well as writers, intellectuals, and music pioneers. His mother, Awatef Hashem, was a prominent socialite known for her beauty. She separated from her husband when Omar was young, and Omar continued to live with her as he grew up. This was a brief overview of Omar Kharshid for those who are unfamiliar with him. The journalist Hassan El-Hefnawi recounts a day when Omar Kharshid was in his office and the lights went out. He lit some candles to continue working, but strangely, the candles kept extinguishing as if a gust of wind blew them out. When he tried to relight them, they went out again. Omar then spoke to himself, wondering if there was a jinn in his office. He heard a voice responding, reassuring him not to be afraid, saying it was a friend. Terrified, Omar jumped from his desk, ran to the door, and went straight home. He was frightened and kept thinking that the voice he heard must have been his imagination, not real. The next morning, Omar went back to his office to continue his work. When he entered, he found something beyond belief. The candles that were extinguished the night before were now all lit. What increased his astonishment even more was that the candles remained intact and hadn't melted or dripped wax, which is natural when a candle burns for an hour. Omar Kharshid tried to blow out the candles. He found the candles refusing to extinguish. He tried blowing on them to put them out, but they stubbornly remained lit, unlike the previous night when they wouldn't light. At night, the candles were extinguished and unwilling to light, but during the day, they remained lit and unwilling to extinguish. So Omar Kharshid went and got a piece of wood to use to extinguish the candles. But even with the wood, the candles refused to go out, and instead, the piece of wood he was using caught fire. Omar Kharshid found nothing else to do but open the Quran on his desk and start reading it, hoping that whatever strange thing was happening in his office would stop or go away. Indeed, Omar Kharshid opened the Quran to the chapter of Yasin and began reading until all the candles went out at once. He felt hands pressing firmly on his shoulders to stop him from reading the Quran, even though there was no one else in the office. But Omar Kharshid wasn't scared and continued reading the Quran until the hands ceased their pressure. Journalist Hassan El-Hafnawi recounts a day when he went to Omar Kharshad's office to discuss work. Among the work was a project for children, and another was a cinematic story titled The Golden Head Company. It was about a fictional event where a circus of King Tut's head is discovered. Omar was going to play the lead role, intending to portray a character different from the one his audience was accustomed to seeing in his films, not just a guitarist. Omar was also going to compose the film's soundtrack. Hassan El-Hafnawi recalls that although we agreed to write the screenplay and dialogue for the new film, after a few days, I was surprised to hear Omar Kharshad telling me not to write the screenplay for that film anymore, and instead, he wanted me to write a screenplay for a new horror film like the foreign film Revenge of the Spirits. He wanted me to start writing the screenplay for this film immediately, and if I didn't have a ready-made idea in my mind, I could gather some novels and articles about spirits and ghosts to choose one suitable for the film's idea. Hassan El-Hafnawi says he was very surprised by Omar's request and asked him what made him change his mind so suddenly. Omar Kharshad replied that a new color attracts the audience, and because people love mystery and theft films, it will also generate huge revenues. Additionally, I want to dedicate my office to this genre of films. After 2 weeks, Hassan El-Hafnawi says he went to Omar Kharshad's office with the idea for the film they had requested. When Omar first read the new story, signs of joy appeared on his face. Fadel Omar explained to Hassan his vision for the film's score and his suggestions for the actors who would portray it. He discussed how to utilize sound and light effects and the sequence of events to create a cohesive work. Omar Kharshad told Hassan El-Hafnawi, "Do you know why, Hassan? I asked you specifically for the idea for this film, not just because I want to produce action and suspense films only. There's something else that made me think of presenting this genre of films. And because I trust you, Hassan, I'll tell you the truth. But promise me you won't tell this secret to anyone as long as you live." Hassan promised Omar Kharshad to keep the secret, so he recounted all the events he had experienced, starting from the situation with the candles that wouldn't extinguish, to how he came to know the genie who became Omar's friend. The genie would often come to his office and talk to him. Once, the genie appeared to Omar in his office while an ambassador from one of the Arab countries was present. When the ambassador heard the genie's voice, he fainted. Omar tried to explain to him that it was the sound of recording, meaning that the recording was playing. But the ambassador was not convinced, especially after seeing Omar talking to someone with just a voice but no body. Hassan El-Hafnawi, the journalist, recounts that he told Omar, "What benefit does having this genie with you bring?" Omar said to him, "He says many dangerous things I cannot say." Hassan told him, "I'm afraid he might harm you." Omar said to him, "Then how can I get rid of him? He's the one who chose me." Hassan asked him, "Tell me something, anything, that might destroy the genie." Omar told him, "He's 1700 years old." Hassan told him, "That's not new information. Jinnis can live up to 10,000 years. Omar hesitated and said, "He once told me something I don't understand its meaning. He said, 'Your face is reflected on shattered glass.'" Hassan said to him, "Omar, did you ever ask him about the meaning of those words?" Omar said he asked him, and he replied, telling me that there is a red volcano bubbling above the black mountains of Katma. Hassan says, "The strange thing is that none of us understood that talk at the time. But what happened afterward is that Omar Kharshad died, and a car accident occurred, and glass fragments were thrown into his neck, causing the red volcano of blood to explode on the black land of death. And glory be to God, who knows the unseen. Hassan says, on this day, when I was with Omar Kharshad in his office, the writer Abdullah Ahmed Abdullah, known as Mickey Mouse, attended because there was an agreement between him and Omar that he would convert some of his words into melodies to be composed and arranged by Omar Kharshad. When the writer Abdullah found out that Omar Kharshad was distracted and not paying attention to what he was saying, he said, "That's it, Omar. I'll come back another time." Omar said to him, "No, Professor Abdullah, I need you for an important matter." But Mickey Mouse had an appointment on television because he had a program to shoot, so he insisted on leaving in the hope of meeting Omar at another time to finish the work between them. After Omar left the office, he said to Hassan, "It's a shame that Mickey Mouse left. I wanted to talk to him about the genie thing because he had previously told me strange stories about demons and ghosts." Hassan said to him, "Omar, what benefit will Mickey Mouse bring you with this genie thing?" Omar said to him, "Maybe he knows someone who can help me with this matter. Anyway, may God bring us good." Hassan el-Hafnawi says that the dispute between him and Omar extended until midnight, and we talked about many things. Omar told me about his mother, Awatef Hashem, and his uncle, Hassan, and his sisters, Jihan and Shireen, whom he considered the family's darling. I don't know what made Omar talk to me about his love for his family that night. Then the conversation turned to the unseen worlds, strange phenomena, and genies and demons. And suddenly, while we were talking in the office, the light went out. Omar Kharshad said, laughing, "Our friend has arrived." Hassan asked him, "Who?" Omar said to him, "The genie, of course. Is there anyone else who can turn off the light?" Hassan says, "I found Omar Kharshad bringing a candle and lighting it. He placed it on his desk. At that moment, I felt something sitting beside me. I felt as if there was a person next to me, and his breath stuck to mine to the extent that I could hear his breath. I could feel it, but I couldn't see him." Hassan el-Hafnawi says, "At that moment, I became detached from the world, reality, and the whole world, and my mind went somewhere else completely. I was in a completely different world, and I only responded to Omar Kharshad's voice, asking, 'About what?' So I said to him, 'What's going on, Omar?' Here, Omar Kharshad laughed and said to him, 'Hassan, it's not you I meant, sorry.' Hassan el-Hafnawi says, that's when I realized that Omar was talking to the genie sitting next to him, and there was some conversation between them. After this session between them and the genie, the light returned. Here, Hassan el-Hafnawi said to him, 'Omar, sorry, I have to leave now. I have to go because you have a flight tomorrow morning.' Indeed, on that day, Omar Kharshad was traveling to Australia. He had an event there, and after Omar Kharshad returned from the trip, the famous incident occurred that led to his death, and a large funeral was held for him. Many prominent figures from the artistic community attended the funeral, and his younger sister, Sharahan, was devastated, crying for him as we bid farewell to the echoes of Omar Kharshad's mysterious encounter. The veil of intrigue remains draped over his untimely departure. In the waning days, before his tragic demise, Omar Kharshad's office whispered with the pages of the Quran and tomes delving into the realms of genies, demons, and ghosts. His fervent prayers and solemn readings painted a portrait of a man grappling with forces beyond mortal comprehension. And then, in a flash of shattered glass and crimson torrents, Omar Kharshad's life met a violent end, leaving behind unanswered questions and whispers of a secret buried with him. Was it mere coincidence, as some may claim, or was there truly a spectral visitor guiding the strings of fate? Amidst the uncertainty, journalist Hassan El-Hafnawi stands as a solitary voice, weaving a narrative that transcends the mundane, inviting us to ponder the enigmatic tapestry of existence. Yet, amidst the silence, Sharahan's omission leaves us to ponder the depths of this peculiar tale where truth and myth intertwine. As we part ways, let us carry with us the echoes of Omar Kashid's journey, a reminder that in this strange and wondrous world, the line between reality and the unseen is often blurred. Until our paths cross again, farewell, and may the mysteries of life continue to unfold in melodies yet to be sung.